In October 1962, the world stood on the brink of nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis. This tense 13-day political and military standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union was over the installation of Soviet nuclear-armed missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the U.S. coast. The crisis is considered one of the most dangerous moments in history, and it is remembered as a time when the world came close to nuclear war. The seeds of the crisis were sown when Fidel Castro's communist revolution took root in Cuba. The U.S. viewed Cuba as a potential domino in its quest to contain communism. To counter this threat, the U.S. in 1961 invaded the Bay of Pigs on the southwestern coast of Cuba. But Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev sought to strengthen his ally, Castro, and saw an opportunity to strengthen their foothold in the Western Hemisphere and deter another American intervention. He decided to deploy nuclear missiles to Cuba in secret. On October 14, 1962, an American U-2 spy plane captured photographs of Soviet missile sites under construction in Cuba. President John F. Kennedy faced a stark choice: launch a full-scale military invasion and risk initiating a nuclear war, or find a diplomatic solution under intense time pressure. The missiles were capable of striking targets in the United States as far north as Cincinnati and as far west as San Antonio, with minimal warning time. Kennedy addressed the nation on October 22, 1962, revealing the existence of the missiles and announcing a naval quarantine of Cuba to prevent the Soviets from delivering additional missiles to the island. The Soviets reacted with outrage. The world watched with bated breath as Soviet ships approached the quarantine line, each vessel a potential trigger for unimaginable catastrophe. Tensions escalated rapidly as both sides edged perilously close to the precipice of nuclear war. The prospect of a nuclear exchange loomed large, and the world feared a repeat of the destructive power witnessed at Hiroshima and Nagasaki just a few decades earlier. Both leaders faced internal pressures. Kennedy contended with Hawks, advocating for a military strike, while Khrushchev grappled with a desire to protect Soviet interests without triggering a nuclear war. For several days, the two superpowers engaged in a tense standoff. The U.S. considered airstrikes and even a full-scale invasion of Cuba, while the Soviets prepared to defend the island. The crisis reached its climax on October 27, when a U.S. reconnaissance plane was shot down over Cuba, and a U.S. invasion force was poised to attack. Finally, after 13 days of agonizing suspense, a glimmer of hope emerged. Khrushchev, facing domestic pressure and recognizing the escalating risk of war, offered a compromise: removal of the Cuban missiles in exchange for a U.S. pledge not to invade Cuba and the dismantling of American Jupiter missiles stationed in Turkey. Kennedy agreed not to attack the country. While he did not agree to remove the missiles from Turkey, Khrushchev was told that the U.S. was planning to do this anyway. On October 28, Khrushchev announced that Soviet missiles would be removed from Cuba, and the world exhaled a collective sigh of relief. The resolution of the Cuban Missile Crisis had profound implications. The superpowers recognized the urgent need for direct communication to avoid misunderstandings that could lead to nuclear catastrophe. This realization led to the establishment of the famous hotline between Washington and Moscow, a direct communication link intended to prevent a similar crisis in the future. The crisis is remembered as a time when the world came closest to nuclear war, and it serves as a reminder of the importance of diplomacy and negotiation in resolving conflicts. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate your support. Until next time, farewell.